I'm your host, Jan Apro, and this is Waycross Community Forum. My guest today is Tom Burton, Public Relations Director of the Greater Cincinnati Radio Control Club. Hey, welcome, Tom. It's good to have you with us today. And of course, our topic today is going to be the Greater Cincinnati Radio Control Club and the Flying Circus.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to be here, Jan.
Nice to have you with us. Listen, Tom, tell us about the GCRCC, I should say, and how it started and when and why?
Well, actually, the GCRCC kind of had its origins right down here in the Forest Park Green Hills area. Over on the lake on Winton Woods, we had a flying site that was called by the dam, and it was called the Dam Site Flying Site. And we used to fly model airplanes there. In fact, I can remember when I first got into town here in 1968, I ran down there because I was in the Forest Park Apartments and went down there. I heard they had model airplanes. So we got our start there and grew, and then eventually we wound up over at St. Francis Seminary off Mill Road, which is probably the area that we're most known for. And we were there for quite a few years until, maybe about 10 years ago when we moved to our current site, which is out near Miller Brewing off Woodsdale Road.
Oh, that's out in the Trenton way.
South
there.
of Trenton,
yes,
right.
Yeah. Well, listen, Tom, how long have you been a member of this organization, and what got you interested in all of this?
Well, it's interesting. My first job I ever had was with the U.S. Air Force, and I was a flight instructor down in Del Rio, Texas, on the river. And I took my flight training down there. In fact, this year, my flight training class will have its 50th reunion. We're going back down to Del Rio again, as you might imagine. But we had a base open house one day, Jan. I was still a student at the time, and the base commander was a model airplane nut. And he had an airplane called a Taurus. I'll never forget the name of that thing. And he flew it. And my mouth was hanging down to my navel. And I said, I've got to do that. And so I started doing research and things like that, and finally got into it a little bit in the Air Force and had some minor success with it. But the Air Force, we didn't have a training program for model aviation, so I didn't learn very, very well. But I learned enough to get up and down safely and not do too much damage. Then I was transferred to Vietnam, and would you believe that I actually flew RC aviation in Vietnam off the end of the runway at Udorn Air Base.
Gee.
Yep. Now, I got into this club in 1968.
Oh,
so I've been around for a while.
Yeah, you've been around for a while.
About 45 years, yep.
Oh, my. And you know, the one thing I stuck in my mind when you said this guy had a Taurus, did you say
yes,
Taurus?
Taurus.
Well, I guess Ford stole that from him too, huh?
Yeah.
A Taurus car, I guess that's what that
but
was.
People are still flying the Taurus today, Jan.
Is that right?
Yep, yep.
Well, listen, tell us about the radio-controlled aircraft that the club flies. I mean, there's got to be more than just a motor type or, something. Is there jets and all that kind of good stuff?
Well, interestingly enough, there's a very wide contingent of modelers in RC aviation. You'll find people who are totally enthralled with scale airplanes, and they build these things like museum pieces, and then they fly them. You wouldn't even know they were a model. You can't see any of the radios or anything else like that. Mm-hmm. Then you have people who are enthralled with World War I aviation. Those are the Dawn Patrol people. Then World War II aviation. Interestingly, after World War II, there doesn't seem to be a lot of interest in military aircraft except jets. And so we have the jet fanatics out there, of which I'm one.
Jet fanatics,
yes.
I like that.
And then we have gliders, as you see this glider here. And we have indoor people. We have people who are right on the cutting edge of doing things with helicopters. And so there's just sportsmen, people who go out, enjoy going out on a Sunday afternoon or a Saturday afternoon and just flying for a couple hours and enjoying themselves.
Well, Tom, this sounds like a very, I don't know, I guess you'd call it a technical hobby. Has this hobby or your organization technically grown in any way? And how can the viewers get involved in this type of hobby? I mean, I'm not that technically involved with some of this stuff. And I mean, you're holding one right now and I see no motor, no nothing.
Yep.
And you tell me this thing flies, which we may see later on.
Well, we'll see the big one fly here,
Well,
not
see
this
the big
little
one fly.
Yep, we'll
That's
fly that
down
one.
there. But how do people get involved in this? How, you know?
Well, the best way to get involved really is to visit a club. And
Okay.
there are several clubs in this area. And you start talking to the members of the club, or you go to the show, which we'll be talking about in a few minutes here, and you talk to the members there and see what they do. If you have an interest, then you have to get involved with the club. Clubs nowadays have training programs in which they train you to fly the model airplanes. Now, as far as obtaining a model airplane, there are several stores here in town, and they sell models, and most of them sell the models same price you can get them over the web. And you can get some very nice models for not too much money. This little thing, which flies indoors, and I wouldn't recommend this as a first airplane because it's a little skittery. But this one, complete with transmitter and everything, and it only weighs 1 3/4 ounces. The motor on this, by the way, Jan, is the motor that makes your cell phone buzz.
That's how big it is?
That's how big the motor is. It's about a little bit smaller than your pinky.
Wow.
So, and that flies this very well. And this thing is $90 with the transmitter, the charger, everything you need. Now, this glider that we have here, it's a little bit more expensive. It goes for $250. But again, the transmitter, the charger, all the batteries you need, everything is included with that particular airplane, and it's ready to fly.
But you still have to build this, don't you?
No, you don't.
You mean?
Well, you're talking about the technical changes.
That's what I'm saying, because I had a neighbor who was with a radio type aircraft.
Right.
And he built this thing from scratch.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he got a kit and built this whole thing.
And many of us still do.
And I know that some of the ones that I used to see at the seminary at Mill and Springdale Road, the guys built those things.
That's right. Out of balsa wood and plywood and stuff like that.
And the glue and all that good stuff.
Well, that's still going on. There is a certain, quote, I'll call them a cult group, who really enjoys building from scratch.
The old timers.
The old timers. I do a bit of building myself.
I won't say that. Okay.
But over the years has evolved a group of airplanes and builders and manufacturers who produce what we call ARF, A-R-F. When they first came out, we used to refer to them as real doggy airplanes, but they have taken over the genre totally. These things are built out of the country, offshore for the most part. Now, there are some very expensive ones that are built onshore here, but they come built in sections. For example, the wings will be totally built and covered. The fuselage totally built and covered. And all you have to do basically is assemble the parts like a Lego puzzle, for example.
Okay.
All right? Add the motor, add the radio, add the batteries, whatever you need, and they're ready to go. Typically in less than a week, you're ready to fly. This particular glider was one night, and it's ready to go.
That's a big glider.
This thing, right out of the box, you can go fly.
Right out of the box.
Right out of the box. You don't do anything.
Okay.
Just toss it in the air.
It's like buying a car. You know,
There you
take it
go.
right off, drive it off the lot. Okay. You know, that's an amazing thing because, as I say, I think of the time that my neighbor put in building his particular aircraft. And when you say that there is a school now that you have to attend to learn how to fly these things, I think that's amazing because I know that some of the guys that flew over at Springdale and Mill Road, they didn't go to school because I saw many crashes.
Oh yeah,
there.
well I didn't have a school to go when I learned either. It was crash and burn or learn.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But going back to this technical issue again.
Yeah,
that's
sure.
Very, very interesting stuff, because the biggest things we've seen in the model aviation has been materials. For example, they used to be made out of balsa and spruce and things like that,
wood.
plywood.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Nowadays, they're molded foam, and all of the supports are molded into them.
Oh yeah.
Or we get fiberglass. We're using a lot of fiberglass and composite materials. The same stuff, for example, that's in the 787 Dreamliner. Some of the fuselages nowadays are made up of this fiberglass reinforced with carbon fiber. So the materials are just really moving ahead. Then in the area of propulsion, used to have, you remember the old gas engines?
Oh yeah.
They burned alcohol, right?
Oh yes.
Well, now we have not only 2-cycle, but 4-cycle gas engines with little miniature valve trains. And we've got gasoline engines that are designed specifically for model aviation, for the larger airplanes. And some of the biggest learnings have been in the area of electric flight. And that's because electronics have been miniaturized so much that we can put a full-size inverter inside the airplane to change the DC of the batteries to AC, so you can put a 3-phase AC motor literally in your airplane.
Well, that's technical. There's no question about that.
But the user doesn't need to know all that.
No, the user don't need to know that.
It's plug it together.
Plug it together.
It's plug it together.
Okay. Well, how many members are in the club, and are they all local people?
Well, they're scattered around the northern climes of Cincinnati, basically, about 150 of us.
And would you say they're on the inside belt of 275?
Oh, no, they're inside and outside of 275.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. We go all the way down to Finneytown and areas like that. We go up as far as Trenton, up into Middletown, Hamilton. I'm up in Mason, for example.
Okay. Well, now, is there any other clubs other than your club locally here?
Oh, there's quite a few of them. There's one up in Joyce Park in Fairfield.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, there's a club up there. There's one out on 741, which is out by Otterbein Home. There's a club out there. There's a club in northern Kentucky. There's one on the east side of town. They fly around the lake out there. They've got their own flying club. And even in our own flying site, where we used to be at the seminary, there's an electric club that flies silent airplanes there.
Is that right?
That's right. They took over.
I was wondering, there was no noise, and I saw people back
Oh, yeah.
there.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. They're flying.
Well, let me ask you this question. Is there any other organization like yours on a national or an international basis? In other words, is this kind of, how do I want to say it, Ohio, that's it, maybe Colorado, maybe California? Or is this a national and international situation?
Well, it's international, really, because all over the world there are model airplane clubs. And these model airplane clubs become affiliated with their own national organizations. For example, ours is called the AMA, the Academy of Model Aeronautics. And they are the ones that sanction all of our competitions. They sanction any records that are broken with model aviation. And they also serve as a lobbyist with the U.S. government. And they provide our insurance for us. For example, if we would crash into one of the cars around the square here, they would provide the insurance that helps to repair that car.
Oh, I see.
All right? And they're headquartered up in Muncie, Indiana. Oh. And there's a lot of aviation activity around Muncie.
Well, I bet you there is. I'll bet you there is. Well, that's great. All right, let's get down to the nitty-gritty here.
All right.
All right. What is a flying circus that you guys are going to be putting on? And you'll tell me when, where, and how, and all that other
Well,
stuff.
I'll tell you the whole story. It started out as a party. It was a party that was developed by a guy named John Maloney. John was a businessman here in town, and he owned a company called World Engines. And World Engines was, at the time, the leading importer of model airplane engines in the United States. They imported them from China, from Japan, from Russia, from Austria, from Italy, and all sorts of places. Well, they also were a distributor for model aviation, where they distributed products manufactured here in the States that were built by other companies. They distributed them to hobby stores and things like that. So they were the classic middleman in the system. Well, John wanted to give a party every year for his all of his associates that were out there. And the associates that were out there came into Cincinnati, and they would bring model airplane, for example, and then they would fly. And so what happened is John continued to fly this, and he asked us to start helping him with the party. And so we started working with the party, and the thing grew, and it grew, and it grew, and it grew.
Okay. Now, let's move on here a little bit. Okay. Let's see. What kind of acts are you going to have? You're going to have a lot of different types of aircraft flying at this flying circus.
Well, the flying circus, the name circus itself, gives you an idea.
Yeah.
You'll find tents all over the place
Okay.
where we're selling hot dogs and hamburgers. And I might point out, we try to keep our prices at family-friendly levels.
Okay.
So you're not going to break the bank if you go to this thing.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you next. Is there a charge for the circus?
Well, there is. We charge for parking. If you come alone in a car, it's $5.
Okay.
If you bring a whole car load or a bus load or a van load or whatever it is, it's $10.
Oh, gee, that's pretty good.
And what you're going to see there is
Yeah.
like an old-time circus. We're going to
okay.
have funny acts. We're going to have high-speed racing. We're going to have giant-scale airplane, jets, helicopters, gliders. We recreate World War II. We recreate the Doolittle raid. We recreate the end of World War II, and then we have a salute to veterans, and we climax the show with the thing that we're famous for now. It's a rocket-powered space shuttle that's radio controlled.
Oh, that's great. Okay. Now, let me ask you this question. Where and when and what time and all that good stuff?
All right. It's on July 27 and 28.
That's a Saturday and Sunday.
It's Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
At the Butler County Regional Airport, right up Winton Road. Just keep going north. You'll run into it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Straight up Winton Road.
Straight up Winton Road.
Okay.
You run right into it. And it's held from about 11:30 in the morning when we start flying things like this glider.
Okay.
All right. And at noon, the real show kicks off, runs nonstop. And I mean nonstop until 4 in the afternoon.
So in other words, there's something going on constantly.
There's an airplane in the air doing something special constantly,
Okay,
yes.
okay. Now let's see. So we've got the date, we've got the time, we've got the location, we've got
Right.
the cost, which
Right.
is minimal. Now, does your club share any of the profits with any other organization?
Well, we sure do. We have had an affiliation for over 20 years with the Spina Bifida Coalition here in Cincinnati.
Oh, really?
Yes, and we share a good deal of the profits. Of course, a lot of it we pour back into the show and just to put on the show. It's not a cheap show to put on. And
No.
we turn out to be the second largest donor in the city of Cincinnati to Spina Bifida.
That's beautiful. That is really well worthwhile, and I hope our viewers listen to this because that $5 or $10 is going to go to a real great cause.
Absolutely,
no question.
Absolutely.
Now, if our viewers need more information about your great club, who do they contact?
Well, first of all is the infamous web. And
Okay.
really, there's more information on the web than I could give you over the phone.
Okay.
But I'll give you the information.
All right.
The web is gcrcc.net. And there'll be a link there to the other one, which is the Flying Circus. And that one is rcflyingcircus.com. But gcrcc.net will take you there.
Okay, and it'll give you all the information.
It'll give you
as
everything,
needed.
including a map.
Okay.
If you're from somewhere that doesn't know where the Butler County Airport is, there'll be a map on there.
Okay.
There'll be signs all over the place.
So we're saying on July 27th and 28th
Correct?
at the Butler County
Regional Airport.
and that's where we're going to have this show, and it starts at 11 and goes to about 4:30 in the afternoon.
Yep.
And there'll be refreshments and stuff, I guess, that
Absolutely.
people can get, and it's $5 a car. And
$5 for one person in
One
a car.
person.
$10 for a whole carload.
Okay.
Van load, bus load, whatever you got.
Okay. So let me see what else we got to talk about here. Tom, how many people usually attend this circus? And let me ask you this: what are your projections for this year if the weather's good?
Well, if the weather is good, we could have 5,000 at each performance of the show. We have had that many at the show when the weather's been good. So we keep hoping for good weather. We've had a couple of good days, but the local weather prognosticators tend to be very doom and gloom type people, and they tend to scare people off. But we're there, rain or shine. We'll fly between the storms.
Well, and I guess I think what a lot of people understand is this is a type of show that you can bring the whole family to see.
Absolutely.
I mean, I guess a lot of people are used to going to the air shows, the big air shows and everything else. But, I think, and this is all done by professional flyers, the big shows.
Right.
And where we've got here is the regular, ordinary guy and gal that puts this thing together and goes out and enjoys doing it, enjoys sharing their fun and experience with families.
This is all about sharing the fun and hoping to get more people interested in model aviation. And I want to point out to the audience now that all of the flyers are required to have their aircraft pass a safety inspection, and they themselves, every year, must repass a flight inspection where they fly the airplane that they're going to fly in the circus and fly it in a manner that would be the same as they're going to fly in the circus. So we make sure that not only are they here with the airplane, but they're capable of flying.
So in other words, you got test pilots and you got instructors that are watching those test
That's
pilots.
absolutely right. They have to be signed off.
And their aircraft.
That's right.
And I guess what they have to do, anybody that wants to get involved with this circus, the flying circus, they have to register with your club and so on and so forth?
Well, it's interesting. we put on the show by ourselves. Now, we have some guests that we invite in occasionally, but by and large, it's our people. And there'll be 80 or 90 pilots out there and 120 airplanes and all sorts of stuff.
Okay, I'm going to throw a big one at you, Tom.
All right, go ahead.
A big question. How many gals have you got involved in this, and are the gals welcome to come to the club and join and be hobbyists?
The gals are more than welcome to come. It's like they don't seem to be interested.
Really?
We have had several young ladies who have qualified to fly and have flown in the circus. And in fact, we had an older lady who also qualified, and she flew in the circus as well. But recently, there just doesn't seem to be a lot of interest with the women to join the club and fly the airplanes.
See, that to me sounds, I know of several gals that I'll bet you would, I think maybe after they see this show, they might be coming up.
Bring them out.
The reason I said it is because they build automobiles that run by battery and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
You know, the little cars.
Right, right.
And I'm just dying to get to them and say, hey, why don't you try airplanes?
Sure, come on out.
Because I think this is something that we feel is open to everybody.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's the question. Do you have an age limit on joining your club? And
No,
so forth?
no. Practically speaking, though, a child needs to be at least 9 to 10 years old so that they have a good command of the right hand and left hand.
Right.
All right. And be able to understand something about how an airplane flies and to take instruction. So that's about the right age to get started, 9 or 10.
Oh, okay. Well, the only reason I ask that is because, you know, some organizations, because of the qualifications that you need to fly this aircraft, for a perfect example.
Nope.
You got to be, you know, a freshman in high school or something like that, 13, 14
not at
years
all.
old.
Not at all.
So in other words, if you know the right hand from the left hand and are ambidextrous into doing that, you can fly.
Yep, there's 2 sticks on the controller, and you got to be able to handle them both at the same time.
So one is for up and one is for down?
No, the one on the right hand is typically left, right, up, down, and the one on the left hand is going to be yaw and engine. And so you have to be able to keep those all straight in your mind.
Okay, explain yaw and
all
engine.
Right, let me do that. Motor, obviously, the engine.
Sure.
All right. Left and right, that's called roll.
Okay.
Up and down, pitch.
Okay.
Yaw, this way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, and dive is straight down.
Well, you don't want to do that.
I know.
Don't want to do that.
I've seen some of them do it, though. I've seen them hit trees. Oh,
we call those lawn darts.
Yeah, I guess so. That's what it sounds like to me, anyhow. You know, in talking about your particular club and everything else, it seems to me that, and I guess this is a seasonal thing, Tom, or, you know, I mean, it's a beautiful day out here.
Right.
We're in Green Hills, by the way,
right.
Green Hills Common, and this is where the show is today. But it's a beautiful day. It's sunshine. It's cool. It's nice and breezy. To me, this would be an ideal day to fly an aircraft.
It is.
All right, let's say that we're now at 42 degrees and cloudy.
We're probably at some restaurant having breakfast.
Okay. Well, I'm just thinking to fly an aircraft like some of these aircraft that you have, you've got to have decent weather to do it.
It's a spring, summer, fall hobby, let's face it.
Okay.
All right. If you want to fly year-round, move to Florida.
Oh, well,
all right.
I don't know about that with all the hurricanes and everything coming in there.
Well, but they're down there doing that.
Yeah.
Now, this one, for example.
Yeah.
When we can't fly outside, twice a month we go to a gym. We fly these.
You can fly that inside?
They're designed to fly indoors. There's a whole genre of these things designed to fly indoors.
And you say you can get these at what, hobby shops or something like that?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what do they find out about these hobby shops? They go on.
Well, you can look in the yellow pages. Go on the computer and send up Google for hobby shops in Cincinnati.
Okay.
And you're looking for one that have RC airplanes.
You said Google. I use Bing all the time.
Well, that's all right. It doesn't matter.
I'm just pulling
there's another one, North Light. All sorts of them nowadays.
Well, the only reason I say that is because I know that if somebody's interested, they want to go and take a look at what's available,
right,
cost-wise and so on and so forth.
Right.
And this way, they've got somewhere to go.
Well, the cost is going to be here at $90. If you get up into the jets, Could be $10,000 or more.
Whoa!
The World Jet Masters were held in Dayton last summer. The World Jet Masters.
Okay, they came from everywhere.
Right. And the winning model came from Russia, and it was a Russian jet fighter, $100,000.
Wow.
Now, I don't know where these people do their day living, but...
well, don't you think that maybe the Russian government kind of sponsored a little bit of that aircraft?
Oh, I don't think we can say
Oh,
that.
I think we could at $100,000.
Yeah, well, the government doesn't sponsor any of this here. I
know that. You guys are on your own.
We're on our own.
I think that's a marvelous thing,
But some of the
too.
jets you're going to see at the circus are $10,000.
Wow. Wow. I imagine those helicopters are pretty expensive.
The helicopters can get $500,000, $600,000, $700,000. Yes, some are electric, some are driven by gasoline, and some are driven by alcohol. So they have all types.
Now, to me, Tom, that's very, very amazing to know that these things can cost from say $100 to $10,000.
Yes.
And you have guys that have these aircraft.
We have guys that have these airplanes.
Wow, and they're going to be at the flying circus.
They will be, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that in itself is worthwhile to come out and see.
Yeah, money on the hoof.
I mean, for goodness sakes, I can't express to our viewers more closely that July 27th, 28th, take the family out to this thing.
Right.
For goodness sakes, you'll have a ball out there watching these guys fly these things. But when you talk about, and this is a family event.
Right.
I can see in just talking to you, listening to you, what you're saying here, that it's a family situation. And all the kids that love it.
Oh, they do.
Grandkids, regular kids, great-grandkids.
Oh, we have a lot of grandparents out there with their grandchildren.
Well, yeah, and I think that's great because it gives them an idea of what can be done with their life.
Exactly.
And Tom, I think that's a great thing. And your club should get accolades for what they do, especially for going to the Spina Bifida organization, which is a fine organization.
It is.
And for your guys to go ahead and do what they do, I just think it's great. I thoroughly enjoy listening to what you've got to say, and for our viewers to understand that, hey, guys, you don't have to go, and I regret saying this, but I'm going to say it anyhow. You don't have to go to the ballpark. You don't have to go and spend a lot of money. You can go out here and take your family and have a great time.
Absolutely.
Okay, Tom, it's been a pleasure having you with me today. Thank you
very much, Jan.
I want our viewers to know what a great job you people do. And also, I want to thank all of the volunteers here at Waycross Community Media, because without them, these programs couldn't be made. And also, I want to take this opportunity, because we are in beautiful Green Hills Commons, to wish the village of Green Hills a happy 75th anniversary.
Oh, that's right, it is.
And it's their anniversary, and I hope they have a great time. This is a great village, and there's some great people here.
Absolutely.
So once again, and if you are interested in being part of Waycross Community Media, please give us a call at 825-2429. And if you know of a group, a nonprofit group that would like to have their show put out to the viewers, please give us a call at 825-2429. And this is Jan Apro saying, until next time, happy anniversary, Green Hills.
Copies of this program are available for $20 each. Send program title along with your address and check or money order to Waycross Community Media. Attention Dub Coordinator, 2086 Waycross Road, Forest Park, Ohio 45240. Or buy securely on the web at www.waycross.tv.